The North Korea has threatened to carry out a nuclear war against its southern neighbor. A Korean history professor says an actual war between the two countries is improbable. He adds the conflict may even lead to the reunification of North and South Korea. Carol Ramoran has more in this second part of this special report.
Threats of a nuclear war in the Korean peninsula may have rattled the international community. But Korean history professor Jun-kil Kim feels otherwise. He says although an actual war between the two Koreas is possible, it is unlikely to happen.
Of course, they can damage some South Korea because South Korea is a very densely industrialized country. So we have many sensitive technical corporate companies nearby, close to the front. So North Koreans can damage them. However, in a few, I think less than a few weeks, North Korea will be retaliated. So that means the end of their regime. So they knew that very well. That's why they always provoke very strategically. So I say that I name it as a psychological war to threaten and to increase the tensions, not a physical attack like bombing or to attacking with the tanks, something like just like as a previous Korean War in 1950s, but they knew that more different tactics of the wars, that is hacking, using the hackings, or sometimes they provoked like very limited provocations.
The Council on Foreign Relations says China is North Korea's most important ally, which provides food, arms, and fuel. However, most scholars and experts say China's patience for Pyongyang is slowly running out due to the nuclear tests conducted by North Korea last February.
North Korea became more and more their burdens, diplomatic burdens in their strategies.
Without China's support, North Korea will have to think twice on starting a war against the South, which is heavily supported by the United States. Other experts also say China will rather keep the status quo, as having a war in the Korean peninsula will deprive them of a buffer against American interest. Professor Kim also takes note of the recent leadership changes in South Korea and Japan, two countries which are keenly watching the developments in North Korea, especially with its young leader. He says with that type of audience, North Korea's new leader Kim Jong-un, only in his 20s, needs to show his authority. Professor Kim adds Kim Jong-un is also ambivalent in taking hardline and softline policies, as he wants to develop his country economically while maintaining full control over the military. Kim Jong-un recently appointed Pak Pong-ju as prime minister, an economic reformist sacked in 2007. Professor Kim sees this as a positive sign that North Korea's new leader is open to reform policies. However, Kim Jong-un has the radical North Korean military officials to please as well. This, he says, is where all the saber-rattling is coming from. Professor Kim says there are three possible scenarios for the North in the future. One is for the North to explode, as there could be possible foreign intervention.
Some surgical strike from some possible, like a U.S. attack, because of the nuclear power stations in North Korea, just like U.S. attacked Iraq or Afghanistan. So that's one possibility. Someday, nobody knows if North Korea still continue to provoke.
Second is for Pyongyang to implode due to a possible coup d'etat, as North Koreans may start to change their old ways on their own. And third, Professor Kim says there is also the possibility North Korea can muddle through the situation, as its future leaders welcome reforms in the system and embrace the market-centered Chinese model of communism. Professor Kim says the three scenarios, if executed wisely, may even result to the reunification of the two Koreas, a possibility that seems far-fetched but probable. Carol Ramoran, Solar News.